Wow, you guys are super with it tonight. Hey! Oh, there we go. Hey. Awesome. So, who here is excited for Christmas? Anybody excited for Christmas? Wow. What does everybody want for Christmas? What's that thing you want for Christmas? Hannah, what do you want for Christmas? Oil diffuser? Hippie. All right. Melissa, what do you want for Christmas? Missy. Sorry. You're going by Melissa now. No, Missy, what do you want for Christmas? Come on. How about that guy next to you? What do you want for Christmas? Nothing? That's what you'll get then. Cole, for you? Xavier, what do you want for Christmas? You guys need to step up your game on your Christmas Santa. For the record, Carly sent me a list with like a key at the bottom to let me know in which priority to buy gifts. So, this is the thing with Christmas that's always funny to me is that when the presents start to show up underneath the tree, you start like trying to figure out what those presents are. And for whatever reason, it doesn't matter what you ask for, you hope your present is like the big present. Because you're like, immediately, if there's a big present on the tree, you go check that present to see if it's for you, right? Because you're like, this better be for me. I didn't ask for anything big, but I hope this is for me. You're like, dang, little brother, why does he always get the big stuff, right? And then you're like, always checking the presents to see if it's for you. And then you're like, I don't know. And then, has anybody ever asked for something small and then your parents wrap it in a big box just to throw you off? Anybody have a parent that has done that? No? Oh, a couple of you? Okay. I guess there's even a thing where you can like put a brick in the box to really throw them off with the weight, right? Because one of the things is that some of the gifts, if you know like you asked for a new iPhone, when the box is under the tree and it's this big, you know that's the iPhone box, right? I mean, that box has been the same since the original iPhone back 20 years ago. It is still the same box. They haven't changed that. So when you ask for an iPod or an iPhone, you know it's that box. But if your parents put in a big old box, you're like, I thought I asked for something. I don't know. So that's always the trouble with gifts. Has anybody ever asked for a gift and then kind of got like not quite what you wanted? Like maybe your parents didn't hear you. Like you asked for Reeboks and you got like Fleeboks instead. Like back in the day, there used to be this thing called an iPod before there was iPhones. Yeah, throwing it back for you guys. Back when the iPod came out, there was this competition that tried to come out with some stuff also. And like one of the competitive devices to the iPod was called the Roon. And so if you asked for an iPod and then you got the Roon instead, yeah, it ruined Christmas for you. Completely. That's why you don't see those anymore. They ruined everybody's Christmas with the Roon, and like it never worked. The iPod just kind of won, and it just kind of took over. The one thing I like under the tree are the little gift card boxes, because you know that's a gift card, right? That's all that can be in that little box, and sometimes it even says Amazon on the front. You're like, I know what this is. You don't know the monetary value, but at least you know what that thing is. So, man, you guys are like so stuffy tonight. You guys can like have a good time and all that stuff if you want. Okay, anyway. And then sometimes you get that box that's wrapped like super fancy. Does anybody have like a family member that always does like the perfect job? And it's like the foil and like the perfect bow. And you're like, this gift is awesome. Just look at it. It should be like in a catalog. It's like all perfect. And it's socks. And you're like, come on. I got the perfect gift box. And then it was socks in there. You always want, no, socks, not good. So what I'm saying is sometimes what you see on the outside is not quite what's on the inside when it comes to gifts. So you got to be careful when you're kind of looking around under the tree of what something is. And it kind of reminds me of probably my favorite Christmas movie, which is Christmas Vacation. Has anybody here not seen Christmas Vacation? Has anybody not seen it? Okay. If you've not seen Christmas Vacation, it's about a family that wants to have the perfect vacation or the perfect Christmas. Clark Griswold wants to have the perfect Christmas, but unfortunately his family's involved, and so things, like our families, don't always go according to plan. So this is a clip from their perfect Christmas dinner. Watch this clip.
Daddy, don't do this.
Before we begin, since this is Aunt Bethany's 80th Christmas, I think she should lead us in the saying of grace.
Oh, great.
What, dear? Grace! Grace! She passed away 30 years ago.
They want you to say grace. The blessing.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
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 Catherine, this turkey tastes half as good as it looks. I think we're all in for a very big treat.
Save the neck for me, Clark.
Okay, Eddie.
Sorry.
Why are you crying? Huh?
I told you we put it in too early.
Oh, it's just a little dry. It's fine.
I told you.
Just a little dry. Just a little dry. So, turkey wasn't quite as good on the inside as it was on the outside. So this goes with number 1 on your program. Make sure you pull out your program, follow along with me. And it's this: the outside can be deceiving. What you see on the outside can be deceiving. So if we're honest, I think we all worry about what people see on our outside, right? That's why there's 27 filters on Instagram, so you can make your picture look exactly perfect, because we're all worried about what everything feels like on the outside. And we want people to think that we look good, or we look smart, or we look buff, or we look skinny, or how funny we are, how talented we are. We want people to have this vision of us from the outside, whether it's in real life or whether it's on social media or whatever it is. And we want to look good, and so we do everything we can to try to make this image of our lives look good on the outside. But if we're not careful, that can kind of lead to some other problems. And it can be especially hard during the holidays to not get caught up in kind of putting out this look of everything's great. Look at our family picture. This morning we had all these families down there taking pictures with Santa, and I saw little kids crying on the way out and stuff. They had their perfect little Christmas picture, but then kids are crying and dad's yelling at them, and it's not that perfect Christmas picture, even though that's the picture they're going to send out on their Christmas cards is this great thing. So we have to be careful during this time of year that we focus on what really matters. And it's not always just the outside, it's whether or not our meal is really edible, not that it looks good in our picture. And so when we look just at the outside of how things are going, sometimes we can get caught up in this whole little thing of comparison. And we'll compare what's happening in our life to what's happening in somebody else, because you see somebody else show up and you're like, oh man, they got new Vans. I didn't get new Vans. And so then it leads to jealousy, or it can lead to discouragement because you're sad, or it'll lead to this prideful thing. You're like, I got the new Jordans. Nobody else got the new Jordans, right? So you got to be careful of what you're projecting on the outside, because it'll start to kind of taint, your heart. So you have to be very careful of that. And so it's not just, you're more than really, your pictures that you post, or you're more than your family kind of shows of you. You're more than the presents you got. You're more than your fancy boomerang that you posted, whatever it is. You're better than that. It's not just what's on the outside. And so this Christmas, what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about this whole idea of what's on the inside versus what's on the outside. And this has been going on for a long time. In fact, Jesus had to deal with this issue, and he was dealing with it with the Pharisees. For those of you that don't know what the Pharisees are, back in Jesus' day, there was the Pharisees and the rulers of law. Really, they were the ones that were like the high and mighty, and they were close to God, and they were rule followers. Above anything else, they followed the rules. Even the rules they made up, they followed those rules to show how superior they were to everybody else. But it was all kind of a facade, and that's what Jesus told them in Matthew 23:25, which is up on the screen and on your outline. It says this. Jesus said, "How terrible for you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you pretenders! You clean the outside of a cup and a dish, but on the inside you are full of greed. You only want to satisfy yourselves, blind Pharisee. First clean the inside of the cup and dish, then the outside will also be clean. How terrible for you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you pretenders! You are like tombs that are painted white. They look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside they are full of bones of the dead. They are also full of other things that are not pure and clean. It is the same with you. On the outside, you seem to be doing what is right, but on the inside, you are full of what is wrong. You pretend to be what you are not." And I think we can all think of at least one person in our life that does a great job of pretending to be something they are not, right? I mean, they act a certain way, but then when you get to know them, you realize they're not that way. It's like Regina George is actually at your school. And they're like, "Oh, I love your bracelet." And then later you find out that's what she always says to the people that she hates, right? It's like we have to be so careful because those people are out there always kind of, putting on this facade. And I love the reference that he uses talking about the cup or the dish. Because I just picture like you eat ice cream in a dish, and then there's always some little bit of ice cream left in the bottom, and you just kind of set it on the counter. And then before you get ready to use that bowl again, you just kind of flip it over and wash the outside. And then you're like, "Oh, I'm going to put my Cheerios in there now. I'll just put it in the cupboard. I clean the outside. It's fine, right? It's just, I'll put it in there, right?" It's like, no. You got to clean the inside of that bowl or that cup or that dish, because that's where the disgustingness is, right? Cleaning the outside doesn't help the situation. You got to clean the inside. I love that Jesus uses that reference because it's so true when you talk about eating off of something or eating out of a bowl or something. You want to make sure the inside is clean, and that really goes for us as well. It doesn't matter what you project on the outside. It's really what matters is what's on the inside. And so I don't want you guys to be pretenders, and I don't want you guys to, I don't want you to focus only on what you see on the outside of other people. So that leads to number 2 on your outline, which is this. You need to look inside yourself. Look inside yourself. And I'm not talking about getting an X-ray or a CAT scan or MRI or anything like that. I'm talking about you need to kind of check yourself. Does your outside and your inside match? You need to evaluate who you are. And I'm not talking about who your friends say you are or who your parents say you are, but evaluate who you really are. Who are you really? Not this persona that you put on at school or for your family, but who are you really? What are you about? Do you stand for something? Do people know you because you stand for something, not just this facade you put on, but actually, you're not saying one thing but acting another way? What do you really stand for? What are you about? And I also, as you're thinking about looking, inside yourself, I want you to think about your motives for what you do. When you post a picture on Instagram, what is your motive for that? Are you trying to see how many likes you can get? Trying to show off your new thing you got? Trying to talk bad about yourself so that others will have pity for you? What is your motive behind what you're doing? When you say something to somebody or you act a certain way, what is your motive for that? That's how you see what's going on inside yourself. Check your motives for what you're doing. How is your heart? How is your heart around things going on? Are you compassionate? Are you kind? Or are you like the Grinch and your heart needs to grow 3 sizes before its normal size? How is all that going? So I have a challenge for you. I found a way to kind of let you guys start to look inside yourself. And this is something I want to challenge you to do just through Christmas, because I think it'll be good for you as you kind of get caught up in this Christmas spirit and what's going on around you. I think if you can keep looking inside yourself, I think it'll help. And so I found this prayer in Psalms 139. I think it's so good. So this is my challenge to you. Whether you pray once between now and Christmas or every day between now and Christmas, I want this to be part of your prayer. If you only pray one time, make this your prayer. If you pray every day, make this part of your prayer. And it's this: God, see what is in my heart. Know what is there. Test me. That's a brave statement. Know what I'm thinking. See if there's anything in my life you don't like. Help me live in the way that is always right. I think if you start to say that prayer every day, you'll really start to evaluate what's in your heart. Because you tell God, hey, let me know if there's anything in my life you don't like. Test me. You better mean it. So you need to make sure that you're looking inside yourself. So I challenge you, take a picture of the screen, take a picture of your bulletin, so you always have it on your phone, whatever you need to do, so that you always have access to this prayer. And you don't have to say it exactly like this. You get the gist of it. God, check my heart. If there's anything I'm doing that's not what you want, help me fix that. It's that simple. But I think if you do that prayer every day, you'll start to see a difference as you kind of evaluate what's on the inside versus what's on the outside of you. So as you're doing this and looking inside yourself, I want you to also do number 3 on your outline, and that is look inside others. Look inside others. And I don't mean like in a serial killer way where you kill them and open them up. I'm talking checking how things are going for them as well. Because we said in number 1 that what's on the outside can be deceiving. What's happening on the outside of somebody can be completely different than what's happening on the inside. So we need to look inside others, especially during this season. Because the question is are you basing your decision about somebody based on what you see or what you know? Because I think if you base it on what you see, it could hurt you and it could hurt them because you don't know the whole story unless you stop to ask. Maybe that kid that drives you crazy, and you're like, why is that kid always acting that way? It's because his parents are going through divorce. He's tore up inside. He's not going to tell anybody that, but that's why he's acting that way. That girl that dresses that way that you guys all point and snicker at, maybe she dresses that way because she doesn't have any self-worth. She's starving for attention. But you haven't taken the time to get to know her, to find out what's really going on with her because you're just worried about what's on the outside. Maybe she looks like she's got everything together, but they don't have everything together. And I know talking to some of you are going through this same stuff. And I know you would never want to be judged by what's going on the outside because you're going through so much on the inside. Some of you are getting tore up at home. Your family lives are a mess. Some of you are going through a divorce with your parents. Some of you are not doing well in school and you're not sure how to figure it out. Some of you are distraught about what the heck am I going to do when I graduate high school? I have all these things that people keep putting expectations on me and I don't know what to do. We need to look inside other people because they're going through the exact same stuff. And if we just judge what's going on the outside, because that one kid's just always doing this in class, and it's driving you crazy, it's because he's trying to take his mind off of all the terrible stuff that's going on at home. So we need to look inside other people. And the only way to do that is to get to know people. You have to ask them questions. You actually have to talk to them. You have to look past the way they look, the way they act. Just because they have an RBF doesn't mean you can just write them off. You have to actually involve yourself with them and check what's up with them, right? You have to do that. Because this Christmas, it's so important that people are hurting, and we need to be able to get past what's going on the outside and get to know what's going on the inside. Because once you learn more about them, you have some decisions to make. You need to make a decision whether or not you're going to be compassionate. Even if you don't know what's going on, and for whatever reason that outward appearance is driving you crazy, you need to make the decision, am I going to be compassionate? Well, let me ask you, would you want somebody to be compassionate to you? Then you probably need to be compassionate to them. Alleviate their situation, talk to them, help them out. Maybe you need to choose to be patient with them. That kid that's always like flicking you in the back of the neck in your class, it's just driving you crazy. That one kid, they're starving for attention. You need to be patient with them, not turn around and yell at them, not make a scene. Be patient with them. You need to choose to be kind to people. The holidays are such a great, glorious time for so many people, but it can be very difficult for a lot of people as well. You being kind to somebody today can make such a difference in how their entire holiday season goes. So you, as you're looking inside others, need to choose to be compassionate and patient and kind to people. Be kind, smile, give them a compliment. Even if you don't like their blue hair, tell them their blue hair looks great. Tell them you like their shoes even if you don't like them. Even if their drawing is terrible, tell them it's great. Be nice. Be kind, be compassionate. I think if you focus on this during the holidays, if you focus on not what's on the outside, but what's on the inside of you and on the inside of others, you'll find you have a lot better holiday season. So I have some next steps for you. They're on the back of your connection card there. If you haven't filled out your connection card, please do that now so you can win a gift at the end of the night. Make sure you fill that out. And one of the next steps is this. It says, I will examine my heart. And the way you do this is with Psalms 139. Ask God to help you check your heart. If you do Psalms 139 and start reading that and saying that and talking to God about it, it will examine your heart. Make sure what's going on in you is pure, that you have the right motives, that you're doing things for the right reasons. The next one is, I will judge others less. And how do you do that? You look past what's on the outside. You look inside. You find out more about people. Don't judge them by what you see, what you've heard. Talk to them about what's really going on. That's how you'll learn to judge others less. Look past what's on the outside. And the last one is I will ask Jesus to save me. If you don't have a relationship with Jesus right now, you need to get that unlocked tonight. Because you can't examine what's in your own heart. You can't examine what's in somebody else's heart unless you've been forgiven for everything you've done. And only Jesus can do that. And I'm going to say a prayer here in a minute. If you say that prayer with me, you can ask Jesus to be the Lord of your life. So as we get ready for a great holiday season, I just encourage you guys, look past what's on the outside, because the looks can be deceiving. That fake Santa and the elf can be deceiving. That beautiful turkey and Christmas Vacation can be deceiving. Just look on what's at the inside. Let's go ahead and pray. God, thank you for this time that I can be here with these great students. God, I'm just so thankful that they have this place that they can come and just be real with each other. God, as these students get ready to go into their week of school, God, just let them look inside themselves, God, at what their motives are, why they do things, God, why they act the way they do, and let them check their heart by just praying to you. God, let them look past other people's faults on the outside and try to figure out what's going on the inside. Let them be kind and compassionate and patient with other people this holiday season. And God, if there's any students here that don't know you tonight, God, that God haven't asked you to be the Lord of their life, God, I ask tonight that they just quietly stay in their seats. God, I need you to forgive me of my sins, be the Lord of my life. God, let their lives forever be changed tonight. God, thank you so much for this group and this great Christmas we're going to get to have together. In your name I pray. And everybody said, amen. Coming up and worship with the band.